Some of the world's most vulnerable men, women and children have been raped, trafficked and exploited by UN peacekeepers who were supposed to be protecting them. There have been more than 500 allegations of sexual exploitation or abuse reported in UN missions globally since 2010. And since 2014, many cases have been reported in the Central African Republic. The Code Blue campaign, an NGO seeking accountability for the abuses, says it's found the UN had mishandled at least 14 of those cases in the country, including many where the victims were not even interviewed as part of an investigation. Then there was the child sex trafficking ring set up by Sri Lankan UN peacekeepers in Haiti between 2004 and 2007. The UN can look into whether staff have breached rules, but has no jurisdiction over criminal offences. More than 100 of those Sri Lankan soldiers were sent home, but there's no record of any of them being prosecuted or going to jail. This week at UN headquarters, the Sri Lankan president was among 57 people who've joined a new circle of leadership against sex abuse within the UN. In June, a decision was made under pressure from the US to cut UN funding by $600 million and to close 12 missions. The Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, has announced a new push against abuse to root out the problem.
We are dealing with a problem of the UN as a whole that we want to eradicate because it is something that is unacceptable for our organization. And we also cannot allow the unspeakable acts of a few to tarnish the work of thousands of men and women who uphold the values of the United Nations Charter, often at great personal risk and sacrifice.
But in every allegation of abuse, there's a person who suffers. There are 209 cases involving 117 children who are suspected of being abused by UN peacekeepers over the last 2 years. More than half of those cases are not yet resolved.